the GM of the New York Yankees, Brian Cashman, who's nice enough to join us on what I'm sure is a busy day. Brian, it's Michael and Don. How are you?
I'm all right, guys. How are you doing?
Good. How significant is the loss of Sabathia, and how serious do you think it is, Brian?
Well, it's hard to say how serious it is yet because he was DL'd on the road in Milwaukee. He went and saw, a Milwaukee doctor and then had an MRI out in Milwaukee, which, revealed the significant fluid on the knee. The meniscus is fine, so it's not a meniscus issue, but he's going to be seen by our doctor here, for the first time with the MRI. His knee needs to be drained. Fluid's obviously building up there for some reason. And we'll be in a better situation to answer, fully what we think might be going on, and why the fluid is being produced there, and when Chris Ahmad gets a chance to rule in. And CC's going to go see Dr. Andrews, regardless of whatever Chris sees. He's already mentioned that to us too, because he typically likes to follow up everything with Andrews. So regardless, we're still in the evaluation stage, but the knee does have to be drained, and hopefully the best case scenario is we drain it. He rests for 5 days, get two pull bend sessions underneath him and behind him, and then he gets ready on the 16th day to be slotted back in. That's the best case scenario, and hopefully that will be the scenario, but I can't say yet.
Brian, we had him on a couple of weeks ago, and he admitted that maybe the velocity is never going to get to the north of 95 again, and he's kind of have to reconstruct his game. Are you concerned at all about him being an upper echelon pitcher, or are you now accepting the fact that this may be more of a bottom of the rotation guy moving forward?
Well, it's something that's a little frustrating to figure through a little bit because, again, his strikeouts per 9 and his walk per 9 are so good. So that's an indicator of a real quality pitcher. His home runs have been a real issue for him. Obviously last year and this year. He's got 10 home runs already in 8 starts this year. And that's coming off of last year where he surrendered 28. And those are something that's unusual. The velocity drop is clearly, something noticeable. That's reduced, velo. But in terms of, the ability to command the baseball and garner swing and miss, which are huge indicators of pitcher success, he's doing that as good as he always has, if not better. But when he makes a mistake, he pays for it. So that's really an area that's, the head scratcher because I think overall, no one wants to hear he's pitched better than what the number ERA shows, but the strikeouts per 9 and the walks per 9 are kind of showing that, and the home runs are obviously something that he just has been a real victim of. So when he gives it up, and it makes the whole day ugly. So in the meantime, we're going to continue to figure through that. But first and foremost, we have to have him healthy.
Now, yesterday, Mark Teixeira hits that home run with 2 outs in the 9th, Brian. But when he scored from second earlier in the game, he was moving very slowly. And after the game said, my legs just feel like cement. They feel so heavy. And he's not in the lineup today because his legs seem tired. Is there any concern beyond just fatigue and maybe the fact that he didn't play a lot last year?
Well, there's nothing wrist-wise or anything of that nature. Essentially, he's part of his responsibility is to communicate to the manager, how he's feeling. Some players, in CC's case, obviously, we didn't know anything was going on with his knee until after this last start, and it was something he communicated after the fact that he'd been dealing with. I think Tex obviously is letting us know that his legs feeling a little tired. His legs are getting a little tight. And so from a precautionary standpoint, Joe's responding to that, and he's going to give him at least a day. And if he feels like he needs more, if he's still feeling like there's something that storm clouds are, starting to, surround Tex in some way that could take him out for an extended period of time, we'll give him a little bit more time. So right now I would classify this as precautionary or reactionary to that, nothing more, nothing less. And we'll just see how he feels tomorrow. I have not talked to Tex today to see if he feels much better. A lot of times these guys respond well to he communicated after the game yesterday, and now obviously we're a good 12 hours or 24 hours past that, so we'll see. Hopefully it's nothing, and it's just needs a day or two, and that's it.
Any concern about Carlos Beltran?
In terms of what? In terms of his hitting, or
Yeah, what was the batting average? Still around 240? Is he maybe looking older than maybe you thought? What you signed him to?
I would say right now we have a number of guys on the offensive side that have been a little bit inconsistent out of the gate, or subpar for what what they're accustomed to, and therefore what we're expecting. So. Offense actually has been a little bit of a problem for us in terms of us maximizing our abilities up through this date of May 12th, or up including, hopefully not including May 12th, and it's been difficult for us because we've been having our pitching challenges with the injuries and stuff, and while we're trying to go through that, the last thing you want is to have one of your strengths, which is your offense, be sputtering at the same time. So, but yeah, I know Carlos, along with Brian McCann and a number of others throughout that lineup, are struggling, and not obviously performing up to their abilities just yet. And so, with the veterans, you certainly play it out, and usually it self-corrects on its own. But right now we have some collective stuff going on the offensive side that's just been inconsistent.